Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soul of a Writer podcast. I'm here with Shania from Mississippi. She has
Yes,
written
yes.
13 books, um, super dope books. In her professional career, she is a mental health therapist who owns her own practice in Mississippi. So we're gonna get into it. So Shania, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Royal, and thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. So we're gonna highlight all types of stuff today. So number one, Shana, you're from Mississippi, right?
Yes, yes. Born and raised.
Born and raised, right? And so I just want to ask you, I'm curious. So some of your books, I saw the titles, they take place in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that? I'm curious to know. I think I have an idea, but I'm curious to know why some of your books take place in Memphis.
Okay, so tell me what your idea is.
I think, and I might be wrong. I think that you either got some family there or you love something from there. You love some barbecue or something, or you love music from there, or you love some blues or something. There's something going on why you love Memphis so much.
Yes, I love the music. The music is one thing. And when I started writing about Memphis, I was actually listening to a lot of artists from Memphis like Young Dolph, Key Glock, um, Moneybag Yo. So the music influence it has an influence on my characters in the story a lot of times too. So my first series actually took place in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where I live. But my first Christmas story, I started using Memphis. And one the thing that I do when I write is I research a place so I can be as familiar to the readers as it can be. And when I went and visit, I took a trip to Memphis and I liked it. So I
Okay,
just felt like, yeah. And a
that's
lot of my
cool.
a lot of my stories are like trap related. So I
Right.
just always go back to Memphis.
It makes sense. I mean, I've never been to Memphis before, but I listened to some of Young Dolph's music or Moneybag Yo, or like you said, old 666 Mafia, 3 6 Mafia, and Yo Gotti.
Yeah.
They paint a vivid picture. Project Pat, all, all
Yeah.
super vivid um, pictures. So you have 13 books out now. They're all on Amazon, right?
Right. They're all available on Amazon.
All available on Amazon. So that very first book, very first one, what was the inspiration behind it? When did you write it?
When the Heart Tells You No was my first series. And I actually started writing it a couple of years before it was published. But I stopped. Life got in the way. And my mom died February of 2018. And it was just one of the things that I kind of was propelled into to help me deal with my grief. And I actually dedicated my first book to her,
Wow.
and it just kind of it went from there because I was a reader of Twyla's. That's my publisher. I was a reader of hers, and then when I realized she started her own publishing company, I told her, well, I'm writing a story, and she was like, well, send it to me, and I was nervous and scared, and she was like, just send it. So I sent like 8K, and she was like, it's really good, and she offered me a 3-book contract, and the rest is history.
Rest is history. Now you're 13 books in. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, do you see, retirement, or are you just gonna keep pumping those books out?
Yep, I'm gonna keep writing. I'm gonna keep writing because it's amazing how, when I'm working on a story, it's like, so what can I work on next? Because a lot of times stuff just comes to me and I just write it down. Like I have a couple of different storylines now that I want to work on, but
Really, really. I'm just curious. You ever had a dream and then you thought to turn that into a story? I'm just curious.
yeah, yeah. Dreams, thoughts, just or I could even be looking at something on TV and I could say, what, I can elaborate a little bit more off of that or switch it up a little bit or something like that. It could be one instance, one little thing, and I can take it and make like a character trait or something or like a storyline out of it.
Right. So you just pull from, all from life inspiration. So like, when you write, do you have in the morning you wake up, you say, I have this word count, or you just say, I'm gonna write until I'm satisfied? Like, what is your strategy to actually getting the words onto the paper?
It depends. Some days it's like a word count day. I'm gonna do 5K today. Other days it's like if my characters are talking to me, like if I'm really feeling the story or into the story, um, the characters just, I don't know, they just speak to me and I have to write. Either I'm writing on my phone or I'm writing on my computer. And then there's other days where I set aside, okay, I'm gonna write for X amount of time today. So it varies.
Yeah,
It just depends
it
on
depends.
what's going on in my life, really.
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of want to go back to, the word "do it scared." Um, is you reached out to somebody and you just got it out there, even though you were afraid. You were maybe afraid of some bad feedback or
Mhm.
action, maybe, but you just put it out there. So, like, what advice do you have for writers who are either not published or they're scared to put their work out there? What advice do you have for them?
Just put it out there. Somebody's gonna like it. You have to be confident in yourself and read. And I think it helped me a lot being a writer is because I was a reader first.
Mm,
So whatever you like to read, and if you feel like you can write that, you have to think about your audience that you have in mind. So, the particular audience, they want particular things in their stories. So, and you just have to be flexible and be open to, positive feedback and even criticism, because once you put your stuff out there, it's out for the world to see. Everybody's not going to like it, but that's okay. And the writing industry can be a little bit I guess intimidating, so you have to have tough skin. You just have to know that you got to take the good with the bad.
yeah, for sure. So kind of diving into your books, what is the plot line of your very first book? Like, what, without going too much into the story or revealing the end, what is what
Yeah.
what is the plot line? What is it about?
So my first story, I wanted it to be something that most people could relate to. So love, disappointment, just things that happen in a relationship. It's about the main character. Her name is Kinley, and she has like a best friend and a cousin. And just trying to navigate what that means on getting input from your home girls on your relationship, things that happen in a relationship. So I wanted to put real life stuff that I think a lot of people could relate to, but not be over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
So in all your stories, who is your most troubled character? Who is the one that you love to kind of just sit aside and be like, baby, let me talk to you. What is going on?
I think there's probably a person in each book where it's just like, because you gotta put a troublemaker in there. You have to put a troublemaker. Like my publisher Twyla told me, everybody wants to have a book bay, somebody that they love, somebody that they hate, and somebody that they're on the fence about. So you gotta throw a little bit, you gotta throw some plot twists in there so people can be like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Okay, for sure. So Twilight Tea Presents, that's your publisher, right? You said
Right,
you got
right.
those,
Twyla presents.
you got that first draft out to her, and she's a writer herself, so you were reading some of her books as well, right?
Right. I am a big Twilight Tea fan. Yeah. And so it was just amazing how, she interacted with her readers, because I follow a lot of different authors, and some of them don't interact with their readers. So to me, that made a world of a difference. So when I did submit my manuscript to her and she liked it, so it's kind of like we're like a family.
Like a family. That's so that I also, my question is, what is it like being signed to a publishing company? Like, what does Twyla provide? Does she help with marketing? Does she give you advice on kind of how the story should go or be structured? What is that like?
Well, I can't speak for other publishing homes, but I know for Twyla, she help us with marketing. She gives feedback, and she's actually pretty awesome because she reads our stories before she actually puts them out. So, and one thing about Twyla, she's not gonna let us put out trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she's not going for that. So and it's just like it's really like a sisterhood, because right now we are all women who are signed to her, but we encourage each other. You know, we do like word count challenges. So it's good to have other people who you can turn to, you know, like to help you brainstorm. She'll help us brainstorm a story, let us know what we need to fix, or if she thinks it could be better if we did it like this or like that. So it's amazing. She's very hands-on.
Okay. Wow. So the time span of all the books that you've written, um, you said the first book was 2018, correct?
Yes, my first book was published in August, no, September of 2018.
Okay. So from September of 2018 until pretty much now, you've released 13 books. So I'm just curious to know, are you're a fast writer, so when you get that inspiration, you just chug it out and just get it out there onto that paper and get it out? Or are you more methodical and kind of take your time, even though you get that inspiration? Do you still take that time before from the time you get the idea to putting it on to the time you put out the book? What is that normal time frame as well?
Well, Royal, actually, there isn't a normal time frame for me, because I've just had other life things going on. You know, when I was trying to pass my license test to become a therapist and things like that. So it really just depends on what I have going on. But if you write a little bit every day, you know, that'll my first series, I think it took me maybe 2 months to complete my first series. So it really just depends. And
Wow.
it depends on how the flow of the story is going, like how I guess involved I am with the characters. I want to say maybe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how does owning your own business, how does that influence either the way you write, or how does that influence your approach to writing? I mean, you own your own practice, so you're responsible for everything, for your income, for everything. How does that change your approach, or how has that affected your approach to writing?
Um, so when I first started writing, I was an employee somewhere, and I had more of a structured schedule, because, you know, I have to be at work Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. So it was more of a structured schedule. And now that I have my own business, I have to be more intentional with my time
Mm.
and my structure, because working from home, you know, there's a lot of gray areas. So I just have to be mindful of the time I give to everything else outside of work and my writing.
Okay, I see. So, and speaking of which, and we can dive into it if you'd like, but like I said, you own your own therapy business, your therapy practice. So, is there writers at times go into a very dark place because as they're writing, they're reaching into, sometimes it could be past trauma or other people's trauma, or you're essentially creating your own world directly from your mind, and you're manifesting it into reality. So
Right.
is there an intersection between mental health and writing? Have you ever had to console yourself, or to make sure that you were okay before you continued writing a story?
Yes, yes. Actually, like I said, my mom passed away. So the book that I released in May was called um Torn Between the Plug and the Thug. And the my main character, her mom is actually my mom. And so, like, her name is the same. The stuff that she said in there was some stuff that my mom would say, or probably stuff that she already said to me. So, with that, it wasn't really like sad emotions. Actually, I felt good writing that, because it was like a piece of her would, you know, it's still here. So I feel good about that. Um, but there have been times where I did have to step away if something was too deep, just to give myself time to process what I wanted to put out there. And I always want to put something meaningful, something that the people can take away. The readers can take away something from every story.
Wow. Wow. That's so what you're saying, and what I got from that is that it could be a healing aspect to the,
Right. Mm-hmm.
or yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Most of the time it has been a healing aspect. There hasn't been a time where it brought something out of me that I really didn't want to deal with. And I don't know if that's because I'm a therapist and I know how, certain emotions come in waves. So I don't know if that's really the reason where I'm more self-aware maybe
Mm.
than someone who isn't a therapist. So I just take the time that I need. When I need to step back, I step back. And when I need to go ahead and put the gas, put my foot on the gas, I do that too.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, even outside of just, writing and this podcast, we deal with things in life, and, if you can find an outlet, um,
Right.
that's something powerful, whatever it is, if it's writing, if it's, bowling, if it's knitting, if whatever you have, if you find
Right.
an outlet and it brings you joy, and it either, helps you deal, then, please use that.
Right. And
Awesome.
it has to be a balance. So it has to be a balance with understanding what you're going through and not necessarily trying to cover up what you're going through.
Hmm. Wow. 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 So what's the future? I mean, you are assigned to Twility now. Do you
Right.
eventually you want to write scripts? Do you want to do movies? What's the idea? Plays, whatever. I mean, the sky is the limit, honestly.
It
So
is. It is. I have not really thought about any scripts or plays, but I will continue to be signed with Twila T as long as she'll have me for my urban fiction. But I do want to start putting out mental health content.
hmm,
So I will probably that's something that I really want to do. I'm passionate about doing.
okay. So is it would it be mental health fiction? Would it be just something that's completely nonfiction that's just related to mental health?
More like self-help type of helping people, you know, get through what they need to get through,
Got
or
it.
let them know that it's okay,
Got it.
whatever they're going through.
Got it. No, I think that's definitely powerful and is needed. And the beautiful thing about social media and just the internet nowadays is that, um, really now it seems to be an upsurge of Black people and well, Black women and just Black people in general going into the mental health field, and you see it all over the place on social media. And I think,
Yes,
that's
yes,
just the most beautiful thing. And just generally now, Black people are more, acceptable, if that's the word of it, if that's the word of seeking mental help or going to a therapist, when before, it was looked.
right, right. Maybe more receptive, yeah. And I think now, like a lot of the celebrities, they're being open about it. Like Wale, he talks about his his mental health journey, and Dak Prescott, when he was talking about when his brother died. And I think people seeing more celebrities talk about mental health, or it's just more of a, it's normal. And I think that sometimes people, they associate mental health with something is wrong with me,
Mm,
like I need to be fixed, I'm broken. And mental health is just, everyone has mental health.
yeah.
That's just a part of your overall health. So being emotionally, physically, and mentally sound is what's going to allow you to have a better quality of life.
Yeah, I agree. No, I 100% agree. So for the folks listening, Shayna is wearing a T-shirt that says "Being a Black girl who writes is lit," and it is
Is lit.
the dopest thing that I've seen anyone wear on this podcast. What's the story behind that shirt?
Well, last summer, Some of my pen sisters and we went to a book expo in Atlanta, Georgia. And some of us decided to get shirts made. So I don't know. This was just something that stood out to me.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I want that on my shirt.
Yeah. I just love how you say, you said your pen sisters. That's right. That's the term, right? That you use.
Yeah, my
love
pen
that.
sisters.
I love that. You have there's a sense of community because in doing anything, I think even in writing too, it can be a lonely process. And if you got folks there with you to kind of cheer you on, I think that's the dopest thing ever. So being a Black girl who writes is lit. I love it. I love it.
And we have like a sisterhood. We do sometimes we do FaceTime calls and everybody is like typing and we're talking and or we can, just encourage one another. Like, okay, so you're gonna get your word count up today?
Yeah. 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 You have competitions and everything, or just to big up each other. So just real quick in closing, I'm really appreciative to have you on the podcast,
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And there is an audience out there for everybody. And I'm actually curious, who is your audience? I mean, what's the most surprising person that you come across that read your books?
Well, my most surprising person who has supported my writing is probably my high school AP teacher. Like she
Really?
came to my book signing and I was like, "Oh, Miss B, wait now." Because some of the stuff that my characters say, and she was like, "Girl, I know, I understand." So that was probably the most surprising.
Really?
And I received an email a couple months ago, and this lady, she had unfortunately, her sister died, and she reached out to me and she was just telling me how one of my stories inspired her to write a story about, her and her sister's life. So, and just different little things. People have reached out on different books saying different things, and whether it's they appreciate it or something touched them, So for me, I don't care about the negative reviews. I focus on the positive ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And those can keep you going alongside with your pen sisters as well.
Right. Yeah, they really do.
I think that's beautiful. So how can we reach you, Shana? I mean, where can we find you at? Where can we find your books? I mean, they're all on Amazon, but what's your social media? Where can we find you? Where can we reach out to you?
Facebook is author Shania Bar. And on Instagram, it is Shana.B.writing.2.
Okay.
So Shana B writing 2. And yes. And my author email is authorshanaB@gmail.com.
Okay, for sure. So all that's going to be posted in the show notes.
Okay.
Shana, I mean, I really appreciate you coming on, and I got the alley oop from your friend on Twitter. So
yes, my friend Nicole. Shout out to Nicole. She is amazing.
Yeah. She's doing some dope stuff. So
She is.
yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on to the show. Everybody, if you like this show, please like it and share it with your friends and anybody else that you come into contact with. We both really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
And Shana, I'm looking forward to the next 13 books that you're going to come out with, or an unlimited number of books that you're going to come out. I'm looking forward.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that too. And thank you, Royal. And I'm looking forward to being back on your podcast too.
Oh, man, hey, you'll be back. Don't worry, you'll be back. Book 50, book 40, book 30, 75, you will be back. And I'm also looking forward to the mental health content as well. So yeah, absolutely. So everybody, thank you. This is episode 4 of The Soul of a Writer. And we will see you next week.